The Tata Harrier EV is all about cool features. It not only gets a 360-degree camera but a 540-degree camera with transparent bonnet, all-wheel drive capabilities and a cool key fob that lets you move the car on its own using the summon mode. But we saw all these things when the car was first launched and thought, wow, that's really cool. But let's be honest, the real question on everyone's mind isn't just about gadgets. It's the age-old question that kitna deti hai? That means how much can this electric SUV go on a single charge? Well, that's exactly what we are going to find out today. We'll drive it from 100% to 0% to reveal the range in the real world. And while we are at it, we'll also compare the real world figures to its biggest rival, the Mahindra XEV 9e. So let's get rolling and see what this SUV is truly capable of. Now the Tata Harrier EV comes with two battery pack options. The first one is a 65 kilowatt and the second one is a 75 kilowatt battery pack. What we are driving today is the bigger 75 kilowatt battery in its empowered variant. So this one gets a dual motor setup, which in Tata speak is QWD, and on paper it produces 390 bhp and 504 Newton meters of peak torque. And Tata claims that this one has a range of 622 kilometers on a single charge. But as we all know, claim numbers and real world numbers rarely match. To find out the truth, we first charged the car all the way up to 100%. Our plan was to drive in a mix of city and highway conditions to keep things balanced. We also kept the car in its default settings: AC at pleasant 23 degrees, drive mode in city and regen at level 1, which is how it resets every time you start the car. And now that the Harrier EV is fully charged and we are off, we tell you how it really drives in city conditions. First of all, the steering. The steering is really light and easy to maneuver in city. And when you switch it to sport mode that we've tried and tested before, there's a little bit of weight that gets added to the steering for that sporty feel. So difference between the city and the sport mode is marginal, not much. So you're well off in the city mode. And the second thing that we like about the Harrier EV is how good the ride quality is. Now it's really absorbent, and that is thanks to the independent multi-link rear suspension. Simply put, it's actually an advanced system where both the wheels are managed individually in terms of ride quality. So let's say if one wheel goes over a pothole, there's no impact on the other wheel, and as a result you get a much more pliant and a comfortable ride. And that really reflects well in our Mumbai's pothole infested roads. So that is one good thing about the Harrier EV. And even on the highway, when you're doing triple digit speeds, the ride is really comfortable, pliant, and in fact it's quite effortless. So you don't really feel like it's a compromised EV. It actually has good SUV manners, and the speeds, if the road allows, 100 plus is really comfortable, and it drives like a proper SUV. So first of all, the ride, second, the steering, and third, the performance. That's really impressive that we have experienced in the entire process of the range test. Now another interesting thing about the Harrier EV is the energy consumption readout. So here on the instrument cluster, the average energy consumption is currently at 177 watt per kilometer. So if you convert this, it comes to about 5.65 kilometer per kilowatt. Now you multiply this with the battery capacity, which is 75 kilowatt, and that comes to about 423 kilometers, and that's actually quite a good indication, although we are just halfway through the range test, and it will vary depending on the road conditions and the driving conditions, including even the traffic conditions. But this one is actually a good early indicator of how much you should really expect on a single charge. So we are now nearing almost 0%, but currently we are at 10%. And one evident change that you will notice at 10% is the reduced speed. So your top speed is limited to just 78 km per hour when you are at 10%, and when it drops to further 5%, the speed is reduced to 60 km per hour. That's the maximum speed that you can do at 5% or below that, and even the AC stops functioning after the 5% mark. Yes, you can still use the blower, the fan, but the AC switches off completely, including the ventilated seats function. So it's finally the end of the trip and the Harrier EV has run out of juice. Interestingly, the car covered 3 kilometers even after the display showed 0%. Now we'll get it on charge and tell you viewers the real range that we got on a single charge. Okay, so the Harrier EV is now charging. Now to reveal, the Harrier EV covered 438.2 kilometers on a single charge, and that's about 70% of what Tata claims. Now this number could vary as per the driving style and the modes in which you keep the car. For example, driving it in eco mode and highest regen could result in higher range, and sport mode and no gen could lead to lesser range. But this tested figure gives you an estimated range as to how much to expect in the real world. Now let's talk about the not so perfect bit. After all, it's a Tata, and like we have seen with all their cars, even the Harrier EV isn't completely free from small niggles. For instance, during our drive, the blind spot monitor decided to freeze on the instrument cluster even after the indicator was turned off. Then, while adjusting the driver's seat, there was this strange creaking noise that ended us in an odd driving position. And once, the infotainment just lagged out of nowhere before coming back to life. Now these might be deal breakers for some, and it's only fair that we put it out there for you, even though Tata won't really be very happy about it. Well, range is one thing, but charging speed is other. So we are here at a public station that has a 60 kilowatt fast charger. What we are going to do as a quick test is charge 10% of the Harrier EV. So currently it's at 38%, and we'll charge it till 48%, time it and tell you how quick the Harrier EV tops up. And there you have it, 10% added in just 19 minutes. That's an average speed you can expect at most public chargers of this capacity. Now let's compare this real world range with its closest rival, the Mahindra XEV 9e. On paper, the 9e packs a slightly larger 79 kWh battery with a single rear mounted motor that produces 282 bhp. Mahindra claims 656 km on a single charge, and in our test it delivered 462.6 km, again around 70% of the claimed figure. So both SUVs, despite different setups, delivered about the same ratio of real world to claimed range. Now coming to the price, the top spec Harrier EV empowered variant costs about 28,99,000 rupees, and the equivalent 9e Pack 3 variant costs 30,50,000 rupees. Now that's a price difference of 1.51 lakh, and in both cases the chargers have been excluded. So decide for yourself, what do you really truly want? The all-wheel drive capabilities of the Tata Harrier EV or the long range of the XEV 9e? Whatever entices you and serves your purpose is the right buy.